Hi, today I'll teach you how to find the house position of the moon in your horoscope. And it's so important because it will show you what is the most deepest needs of a person, what makes him most comfortable or her most comfortable, what the person feels most at home with. It will show you the most, let's say, ingrained nature, the face that they don't show in public, but the very private face and the very private character of themselves, which gives them natural talents. But at the same way, the moon is so important to know about a person if you're going to live with that person, because you need to have compatible moon nature, because the moon shows how a person is in the most environment when he's most relaxed, when all the guards are down, so the most personal, vulnerable part of a person. And also the moon shows an area of life where it's more flexible, where it's more receptive, more feminine, where one needs nurturing, and when you have to be more careful in that area of your partner's life if you're looking at your partner's or your own horoscope. The moon shows also the mother or the mother figures in your life, how you're nurtured emotionally and how you will nurture emotionally others. The moon will describe also the women in your life. Usually if you're a man, it will describe your primary partner that you marry, because usually it takes more, the wife takes a bit of a mother role later on in life as well. A lot of other things which we'll talk about. But first of all, in order to find the moon house position, you need to know your time of birth. Without the time of birth, unfortunately, you cannot know the exact house position of the moon. To do that, go to my website astrolada.com, enter the exact, there is a birth chart calculator, there is a link directly to the birth chart calculator below this video. Enter the time of birth, the place of birth, the country of birth, the year, the day, everything. Once you have it, you get a table like that. You can use another birth chart calculator. Usually most will give you the circular chart. It doesn't matter which you use. We're using tropical Western astrology here. My birth chart calculator shows tropical positions, Western positions of the zodiac, and this is not Vedic astrology. I'm just using a chart which is more popular in Vedic astrology, but it's Western astrology. Or you can use the circular chart. I want you to see where the symbols of the moon is. In my chart is indicates with MO, moon, abbreviation from the moon. And I want you, first of all, this is always the ascendant. This first square on top is the ascendant. And I want you to check the house position of the moon in two ways. Counting the squares in this direction, counterclockwise direction from the ascendant. Find out in which square the moon is. For instance, you might see the moon here. Sorry. MO. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So check the video for moon in the 5th house. And also, I want you to check what Roman numerical number is in the square where the moon is. For instance, if your moon is here, 1, 2, 3, 4, in the 4th square from the ascendant, which means it's in the 4th sign from the ascendant, I want you to check the video for moon in 4th house. But also, if you see the Roman numerical 5, I want you to check the video for the moon in the 5th house as well. Both house systems work, and both you identify with both. They're calculated in different ways, but they're within you both. Or sometimes you might have moon in the 1st square where the ascendant is, the ascendant sign, and also there will be the Roman numerical 1, so you have to check just for one house. But sometimes you might have for more than one houses to check. For 4th house, because the moon is in the 4th square from ascendant. For the 5th house, because the moon is in together with the 5th Roman numerical, and it might be as well another Roman numerical, which is number 6. So you have to check 3 house videos and you have to see which you identify best with. Moon in the 8th house, and in my chart you will see it this way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Moon in the 8th square, the 8th sign from the ascendant, or together with in the same square with the 8th Roman numerical, which is written like that. Sometimes you might have the 8th Roman numerical here in the 9th house. in the ninth sign from ascendant, but when the moon is with the eighth house cusp, it affects like also being in the eighth house. Sometimes it might be even here. Sometimes it might be here, the eighth house cusp. So if you see the moon in any of those together with this, in the same square as the eighth house cusp with the Roman numerical, or in this square, or in this eighth sign from the ascendant, then you have moon in the eighth house. What does it mean? Well, moon is your emotional well-being, your emotional reactions. And the eighth house is the house of changes, sudden changes. So the mood swings of this person might be quite extreme, might be subject to very deep emotional states that take him to the like very, very deep in negative states, and sometimes higher and down. So constant changes of the mood swings. So this can be a moody person with violent moods as well, with violent mood changes. I'm not saying physically violent, just what's happening within. Very extreme. Eight houses is a destructive house. It's self-destructive. So some people might even have some self-destructive tendencies or emotional tendencies that are self-destructive. The moon rules the body as well, rules a lot of the functions of the body. So for a lot of people with the moon in the eighth house, sometimes there might be unhealthy relationship to the body, or attitude to the body, or even sometimes the body may be more pained than other times. So they have to be careful about their health. Women in particular, especially because the moon rules especially female bodies, but men as well, because the health is a bit more sensitive to such people, They have to be careful. The eighth house is the faulty house, so whatever is there is a bit faulty. So the emotional reactions, the body sometimes. Also the eighth house, as I said, rules changes. So the life of this person will be full of a lot of unexpected sudden changes. And at the same time, the moon shows the mother, the primary caregiver. Sometimes it might be even the father if there was no mother that existed, but he acted like a mother or a grandmother. And being in the eighth house, or with the eighth house sign, often the mother might be subjected to violent mood change as well. Mood changes to the mother can be more self-destructive as well, or can have emotional outbursts. And I have a friend with the moon in the eighth house, and her mom is kind of extreme person and unhappy person, a bit disbalanced. So there is this as well. It's not always, I say, there are always many exceptions. Other influences can overpower, but usually the mother will be somehow problematic and a bit of a more hidden, private person, more complex person, more psychologically intense person, manipulative as well. There is a chance of manipulation, and this can actually reflect in the personality of the person born with moon in the eighth house as well, because the moon is the emotional life of a person, and eighth house is a hidden house. So such people would want their private life to be quite hidden, quite secretive. So such people with the moon in the eighth house, they can have a lot of secret in their life. They can keep a lot of things from you. Even if it's your closest partner, they can keep a lot of things, hidden from you. And they're very private and secretive about their most deepest emotional states and intimate experiences. And they can also have, sometimes there is a tendency even to be in more hidden relationships. I'm not saying someone who has the moon in the eighth house will necessarily, or with the eighth house cast, will necessarily cheat, but it's, as I said, there are always many exceptions, but there is a bit of a possibility of that, because of the such people feel very comfortable in secretive and hidden affairs. They're very comfortable in something which is more taboo, which is more forbidden, which is not socially acceptable by everyone, which is a bit on the dark side. So they can feel emotionally, they feel comfortable. They don't go fully, out of balance from that. And they'll have an emotional affinity towards such themes and such topics, maybe occultism, maybe astrology or tarot, or unveiling secrets, or understanding secrets, understanding how things work under the surface. And they'll have a natural, very strong psychic abilities such people have. They can actually even, especially when it comes to do with crisis and cataclysms, which is ruled by the eighth house, they can almost feel when something bad is about to happen, because moon is a receptive, feeling, intuitive influence. And eighth house is, especially when it comes to some big changes or reversals in life, these people will feel it. My best friend who has this moon in the eighth house, before every big earthquake, she dreams, she has a dream and she knows something bad is happening, an earthquake is coming. It's not for everyone that has the eighth house, the moon in the eighth house, but they'll have a premonition and deep instinctive ability to see when something is about to change, psychic ability, almost intuitive. As I said, they might have even abilities in astrology or any kind of occult skills as well, naturally, from that's something that they feel very comfortable with, predicting the future a little bit. And as I said, sometimes it can be even, they can feel quite comfortable in extreme situations where others might start falling apart, like in crisis situations, in situations of big pressure. Such people are the person you need. If you need some crisis control management, this is the person to turn to. He's someone who will keep their horses together emotionally and will kind of react emotionally better to such situations, because they're so used to the onslaught of extreme experiences in their life, or they're emotionally comfortable with those, so they can be great for any careers which are to do with firefighters maybe, or any kind of a police work, or any kind of crisis situation. Surgeons, surgeons as well, because eighth house is the house of transformations, especially beauty transformations. And moon in the eighth house, anything which is changing from one state into another. Crisis, this is what a crisis is. It's a very fast change of something, very unexpected, sudden disruption of the normal flow of things. And this is what all transformations and changes are. So such people will be very comfortable with helping others through changes, helping others through big catastrophic problems happening in their life, or big sudden changes in their life. So they're great for psychologists, they're great for counselors, they're great for helping others transit from one state to another. This can be healers, this can be therapists that help you transfer, say, from the loss. Eighth house rules death, because the biggest change in life is loss of someone, is death. So such people, they are very at ease and very comfortable with the themes of death, with the themes of the ultimate change. So they can be great death therapists, bereavement therapists as well, or even people who stay in hospitals and help others, carry them through from this life to the next life. And they can be past life regressionists, where you pass barriers from one life to another. Hypnotists, astrologers, kind of the more occult taboo things. And because eighth house is understanding the roots of everything, the psychological reasons behind everything, they're great psychologists as well. They'll help you understand your more darker hidden sides, more vulnerable sides as well. And such people are strongly aware, strongly sensitive to the weaknesses of others. He might be looking at you and not saying anything, but inside he'll be sizing you up and seeing which is your weakest spot, not to attack you usually, but they're just very aware of the defaults of others. Eighth house is the house of fault, the faulty house, the default house. So when you emotionally are very responsive to the faults of others, they're not being critical in any way, they're just aware of your weakness. They'll be aware of your vulnerability, such people. And people who are not very aware, so not very spiritually advanced, they might become manipulative. They might, because they're aware what your fears are, your weaknesses, and how your subconscious work, what your, below the surface, how things are, those energies, they're very much aware of those below the surface energies. They can become manipulative and controlling in some not very good ways. But people who are spiritually more aware is the opposite. They can help you overcome your weaknesses. They can help you smooth out those fears and vulnerabilities that you have. That's why they're great for psychologists, therapists, psychics, for people who help you with transitions in life as well. They're great healers, the more evolved beings with the moon in the eighth house, because, as I said, eighth house is those hidden energies that are below the surface, and only 1% of anything is visible. The 99% of the universe is invisible. So they can tune in into this hidden energy and these powerful energies below the surface. They can tune in, and they're very comfortable with manipulating those energies, with dealing with those energies. So they can be amazing at moving big groups of people, of having influence over big groups of people, of the dynamics of big groups of people. And it can be great for some big corporations, for instance, because such person is aware of the energies below that are happening, and they can lead such bigger groups of people, as I said. Also, we spoke that the mom, that she might be a bit conflicted, or she might be this type of person that we described, healers and emotionally very tuned people that see below the surface in the better cases, in the worst cases, manipulative. But also, it's interesting that 8th house is other people's resources and finances. So such people can be really good at wealth management for others. Also secret wealth managers, like bankers and things like that. It comes naturally to them. So they're great for keeping secrets overall for anyone. Let me just see if I said everything. Secretive behaviors. Yes, as I said, they can have secretive behaviors. So what you see for this person is just the tip of the iceberg. Especially emotionally, they're very secretive. And now a couple of men like that with this position, they're wonderful, intelligent, very powerful people, very intuitive. But when you get to know them after years, some secrets come to the surface that are shocking. They don't have to be something negative, but you can be very surprised of how much these people are hiding of who they truly are. And such people can benefit when they have the moon in the 8th house from finances. As I said, 7th house is the marriage partner or business partner. 8th house is the resources of that partner. So they can benefit from joint financial resources. Their financial situation can improve after they get married, and they have a natural ability or a natural talent somehow for managing others' resources. So the spouse will contribute somehow to the financial improvement of the person, to the account. So this is, I think, a lot of the things that I said. Please, about moon in the 8th house, please share with us if you have the moon in the 8th house. Do you identify with any of those things? You might not identify 90% with everything, but you can identify with some things, and you can project some other things. And always astrology is relevant, as we said. And I'll be curious to hear your comments.